What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Run Deer Sports UFC show. We got the whole crew back together today talking August 6th UFC fights. I'm DC, of course, joined today by Title and Keg. And guys, we haven't been together for maybe a month. We've been on various vacations, what have you. So it is good to get the crew back together and talk some fights. Title, what's going on, man?
Yeah, we were talking a little pre-show. I'm like, it's felt like an eternity since us three have been on here, but two of us have been on every single week as always, which is all that matters. It's going to be nice though, breaking down these fights coming off of pay-per-views. So usually the week after pay-per-view cards aren't the best. But hey, my boy Sweet Dreams headlining another main event. One of my favorite fighters for sure. He's treated me very well, except one fight. So always excited to see a little Sweet Dreams action. 12 fights, excited to break it down. There's always money to be made.
Absolutely. Keg, what's going on, man?
Going on, bud? Missed last week, but excited to be back with you guys. We got 4 women's fights on this card, so you know what that means, my friend.
The split decisions, they're coming for
us. We cast on that last week.
Yeah, we got it home last week. Yeah, that's right.
There was another one at DC. We said the Semmelsberger, Alex Morono. I was like, hey, split decision looks a little tasty in that one. You agree? Then that's 2-0 right there.
We're branching out. We're not just sticking to the women's fights when it comes to split decisions. If we see another fight on this card, we'll call it out and we'll fill our pockets in an unconventional way with those. But yeah, of course, if you're new to the show, Title going to be breaking things down from a DFS perspective, Keg mostly from a betting perspective. All three of us will talk, of course, both aspects of that. And yeah, with that, let's get into it. 12 fights to talk about. We do start in the women's division, Stephanie Egger and Mayra Silva. Starting off here with a closely lined fight. I see the best line on Egger out there on DraftKings, -125 or so. Silva coming in right around +110 at most books. Let's go to you, Keg. First, break this one down for us.
Yeah, I don't love this card from a betting perspective. I don't think that there are many viable dogs actually on this card. But if I was betting a side in this fight, I would definitely probably be on Silva at the dog price because it feels like a coin flip to me. Obviously, we're going to be on the split prop at +450, but I lean Silva here because she has some power on the feet. She's rock solid in the clinch. She always moves forward, and she's got a really well-versed ground game where if she can find openings, she can make you pay for it. So I think the wrong fighter is probably favored here, but not by much, which is why I like the split here. So we're on that, but I don't mind people taking shots on the dog here. I'm not going to do it, but I lean Buena Silva for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. Title, both of these fighters in that mid-range, as you might expect for a closely lined fight. Silva coming in 8,200, Egger 8,000. Obviously, women's fights aren't always the best for scoring, lower likelihoods of finishes and all that stuff. So what do you see here from a DFS perspective?
Yeah, but this is actually one of the women's fights that I think both girls could finish. This is one of the, you don't see very often a women's fight to kick off the card that I think are two solid fighters. Like I was looking to back both these fighters, wishing they didn't fight each other, but Buena Silva, her grappling is good. You just never see it. She rarely ever goes for the takedowns because her stand-up's decent too. She throws good leg kicks, which I always like. She has some power in her hands. Just a well-rounded fighter for sure. She did open up as the favorite, I believe like -130, 110. Now it flipped. Egger sitting, like you said, -125 about. As far as Stephanie Egger, she's more of a one-trick pony. She wants to fight on the mat. She has very good judo. Her judo tosses are nice. Once she gets on top, her grappling is also good. Armbar Jessica Rose Clark last time out. How I'm approaching this fight, like I said, I like both girls. I think it's a very close fight. Don't mind the split decision, even though I think both could finish. But DFS-wise, 8,200 for Silva, 8,000 for Egger. I think it's a coin flip fight at the end of the day. $200 cheaper, and now Egger's the favorite. Could even get more steam and close like -140 or something. I think she does get more ownership in this one. So give me the less owned fighter, 8,200 in Silva. Glad Keg likes it a little bit. It's not going to be a huge stand for me, but I'm going to have a little more of the fighter I think that's going to be lower owned and what I believe to be a coin flip fight. So I guess I'll take the dog money for talking betting too with Silva, even though I wouldn't put a penny on it because I think both girls are solid.
It makes sense. Sounds like we all kind of expect a close fight there, and maybe the dog Silva can pull it out. And yeah, decent plays DFS wise. I think Tyler made some good points there. Let's go to the next fight. We will stay in the women's division. Cory Mckenna, a minus 200-ish favorite over Miranda Granger. Title, we'll start with you on this one. McKenna, Granger, what do you see here?
This is kind of a clash of styles. Lower level women's MMA, like those first two girls, I definitely think are better than these two. Cory McKenna is still very young, though. She's only 23 years old. She's 6-2. She's coming off of a loss to Elise Reed. That was the first London card. And man, she was like a minus 360 favorite or something she closed at. She just didn't wrestle until the end of each round. She landed 3 takedowns, but at the end of each round, they don't really count for anything. She was getting pieced up on the feet by Elise Reed. In this one, Miranda Granger, we haven't seen her in 1 year and 8 months. She had a kid. So good for her. I don't know what to expect from her in the octagon, though. Her last fight 1 year, 8 months ago was against Ashley Yoder, lost by unanimous decision. Ashley Yoder is like 8-8, so that's not a good look on your resume. Granger has a huge tail to tape advantage of 4 inches in height, 10 inches in reach in this one, which is going to play big, I think. Man, on the feet, I think Granger is the better fighter. McKenna's very, very hittable. She doesn't throw very hard, so I think Granger is going to win there. But can she stuff the takedowns is the question. I don't know at the end of the day, but 9,100 for McKenna, minus 205 she is, whereas Granger, I would Keg when he said earlier, I don't love too many dogs on this card. We need to play some dogs in DFS. There's no better dogs to take than lower level women's MMA. You see how close they always are. So 7,100, I lean Granger, I guess, when it comes down to the DFS prices. You just got to hope she keeps it on the feet. Now, I'm not going to completely fade McKenna. If I only had like 5 lineups or something, I would. But her path is wrestling, is top control, and all of that. And we know how that can score. She'll be one of the lowest fighters in the upper tier range. But, man, the upper tier is stacked when we get to some of these guys up there. So I'm going to say Granger, low-level women's MMA. I'll take the dog, but not a great fight.
Not a great fight. Keg, am I reading this right? Where Cory McKenna has a 58-inch reach? That's got to be the shortest reach in UFC history.
That's what I'm saying. 10 inches in reach advantage for Granger.
And when their reaches are smaller, it's even that 10 inches goes even further, like percentage-wise. So that's
some people have T-Rex arms. Like,
I guess. Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I agree with a lot of what Title said. Cory McKenna last fight against Elise Reed, her game plan to stand and bang for 2 rounds while she got absolutely worked is really concerning. Her coaches in the corner were like, you look great out there. You're doing really well. She wasn't. It took late takedowns for us to get that split decision prop home. We got it.
It shouldn't have been a split. That was robbery.
You're absolutely right. It shouldn't have been a split, but we'll take it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why we bet them.
Listen, I agree with Title. On the money line, you don't bet $2 favorites in low-level women's MMA. I am going to lean, though, with her to win the fight because I do think she will probably be able to get takedowns. And Title's right. If she can get takedowns, she could put up a big boy score, like 12 minutes of control time, possibly. But yeah, we're on the split prop. I'm gonna side with McKenna, but from a betting perspective, it's dog or pass, definitely.
Makes sense. That's McKenna and Granger. Let's get to the first men's fight on the card. Jason Witt and Josh Quinlan. It is Quinlan who is a pretty big favorite here, biggest favorite so far, sitting around minus 250. Keg, we'll stick with you on this one. What do you see?
Yeah, I can't take Jason Witt seriously. He could be knocked out by a cold shower, a summer wind. He's been knocked out 6 times, 3 times in the last 6 fights. I can't trust my money with him. So he is a solid wrestler, but it's automatically Quinlan or pass for me. And I like this kid. It's Quinlan for me because he could be a problem in this division if he could translate what is on his tape against upper echelon talent. He's explosive, great speed in the pocket. He can crack. There isn't a ton not to like from what I've seen so far. Haven't seen much of his ground game. Title, were the 2 submissions that he had club and subs?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even really know. I couldn't find too much tape on this guy, to be honest.
Yeah, I like him by KO at plus 110. I think that he will find the chin at some point in 15 minutes in the cage with Jason Witt. I think all three of us here could probably find the chin in 15 minutes with Jason Witt. So yeah, give me Quinlan by KO plus 110.
Jason, if you're watching, it is Keg challenging you to a fight.
No,
Not me either. Not me either.
I'm fat. I'm out of shape. No, that's definitely not me, Jason. You're my dad.
I got enough Twitter battles to fight. I don't need any more about boxing opponents. So
definitely not me.
Title, let's go to you here. DFS wise, sounds like Keg's got some confidence in the KO. Obviously, that could happen early. Like you said, not a ton of tape on Quinlan, but a good opponent, certainly to score well. So Quinlan coming in 8,600, Witt 7,600. What do you see between these two guys?
Yeah, I mean, everything Keg said. Anytime you see the name Jason Witt, like the first thought in your head is just like no chin. Like at the end of the day, like, I mean, it's sad, but the dude just literally has no chin. And Quinlan, man, like I said, I haven't been able to find too much tape on the guy. Everything I have seen, he looks good. He was 5-0 pro record. He got started a little late in MMA. His first amateur fight was 2017, but he did have 3 fights in LFA, which you like to see. Good promotion. Got contender series. He went in, finished his guy in 47 seconds. It was overturned. I don't know if he had like some PEDs or something.
Yeah,
he got, yeah, PEDs. Yeah, but like what? That was less than a year ago though. So like,
he served a 9-month suspension.
9 months he got. That's pretty generous for, I mean, yeah, that's a little weird. Usually you see longer than that, but at the end of the day, he looks solid. He has power on the feet. He looks quick on the feet. Jason Witt is not quick on the feet. He has some power, I guess, but he wants to get the fight to the mat. If Witt definitely has a path, this is the fight you really like for DFS, because if Witt wins, it's going to be 9 takedowns. There's going to be a lot of control time. It's going to be a domination like that. However, he does slow down as the fight goes on, so the third round always gets dicey. If Quinlan wins, which is my pick, I got him in the first round knockout, because anytime every fight starts on the feet, anytime this fight is on the feet, Witt's in trouble, man, with that chin and with Quinlan's power. So I think Quinlan gets it done. I think he gets it done in the first round. Witt just can't take a punch, but man, Witt with the wrestling chops, he does have solid wrestling. If he can start changing them together, we don't really know about Quinlan's takedown defense too much, or his defensive grappling too much. I think his grappling's solid, but Witt's a good wrestler. So takedown defense, the biggest question. I got to go with Quinlan though, but man, someone making their UFC debut off of Jason against a guy that's fought 5 times in the UFC so far. So usually I don't love being on this side, especially laying the chalk. But I think Quinlan is the rightful favorite. I think he gets it done.
Yeah, makes sense. And I could see this one ending early. Like you said, that first round KO, you can get that at only plus 325, which does feel not that much value for a very specific finish early on, but certainly a fight that all three of us expect Quinlan to win, and maybe in spectacular fashion as well. Next fight on the card as we go along here is Takashi Sato and Brian Battle. It is Battle, who was a pretty big favorite here, minus 300-ish. Let's go to you, Keg, for this one. Battle and Sato, what do you see?
Yeah, Brian Battle, who I think won last season on Tough, finally going to fight somebody on the UFC roster that wasn't from the show. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I like the kid. His skill set seems pretty solid, but it is worth noting he's dropping down to 170 pounds for the first time in his career. How does the weight cut affect?
He didn't look great.
Yeah, that's the thing. How does it affect his performance, man? I'm really not sure, but all in all, he's solid from range, good footwork, carries some power. I do worry about his hand speed in the pocket because it's really not that fast at all. On the ground, good transitions. He could submit you when he finds openings. I do think his top control wrestling needs improvement. But again, all in all, solid, but I worry about the cardio. We know what Takashi Sato is, right? We hadn't seen him fought in 2 years, comes back against Gunnar Nelson. Takedown defense hasn't improved at all. He always feels KO or bust to me. He's only beaten 2 UFC level fighters in his career. And if you can get him to the ground, he's in trouble. Nelson took him down at will and rode out a frustrating decision win. I assume Battle's going to try to do the exact same thing. But Sato is a good striker that carries real power. And when he's on his feet, he is live. So the odds open offshore, Battle -200, right now -280. Listen, you can make the argument that this line has now inflated to the point where there is some value on Sato on the money line. I do think that Battle, well, let me clarify. I did not know he looked bad on the scale until Title just told me that, because I haven't watched it yet. I did think that Battle was going to win the fight. I was leaning by decision at +130. But that being said, if he looks that bad on the scale, I might take a shot on Sato at +230 to find the KO. But aside from that, you know, I was leaning Battle. I will lean Battle, but that could change. I'll tweet it out if it does change.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's a pretty big number on Sato for, I don't know, Brian Battle. I'm not completely sold on him. Title, yeah, talk a little bit more. He just looked worn out on the scale, or what?
Oh, he looked drained. I mean, this is his first fight at 170, and he's a big one set. When he makes 170, he's big. Like, he has a 5-inch reach advantage, a 3-inch height advantage in this one. Like, he's just like, his biggest weapon was his cardio at 185. He just pushed the pace. He throws a lot of volume. His cardio, he can mix in takedowns. He just breaks his opponents. And I was over Battle. So first of all, I want to say, DC, Sato is what everyone was calling Glock at the March Madness party. Remember when he did throw that? Okay. Yeah, that's Sato. Okay. So the dude can hit, but he just doesn't throw his hands at all. And now he got control for over 8 minutes. Brian Battle, I came in before the weight. I was like, I typed in the playbook. It'll be out after the show. But I was like, you have to watch the weights on this one with Battle, because if he looks good, I'll definitely will like him a lot. If he doesn't look good, there's a problem, because his cardio he uses as a weapon. And now if he gasses out, man, he's not a stud, grappler. He doesn't have very fast hands. He doesn't have a ton of power. He's just a grinder at the end of the day. -280 for a grinder against someone that's been in the UFC. I think the value is definitely on Sato when it comes to the money line. And the problem with Sato, he's just so frustrating. He has power in his hands. 11 of his 15 wins are by knockout. The thing is, he just lands 2.28 significant strikes per minute. He has to catch Battle at the end of the day. Battle has not been finished. Battle is a very tough guy. Again, this weight cut could have something, or he's been finished, won by submission. He's never been knocked out. I'm saying I had Battle. Again, I've been going back and forth after I knew this weight miss. Definitely Sato's the side for betting wise. For DFS wise, I put a note in the playbook. I now have moved up Sato. I moved down Brian Battle, because I had Battle by submission, actually. I thought he was going to break Sato. If you look at Sato's his losses, 3 of the 5 have been by submission. If you look at Brian Battle, 4 of his 7 wins have been by submission. I thought like a second or third round submission. But man, I am so nervous about that cardio and stuff now. I don't think he's like an ultra athletic guy. All this stuff at -280 on a card I don't love a ton of dogs. Maybe I'm just going to say Sato gets it done now, because I want to pick some dogs on the card. But man, this line feels way too wide after what I saw on the scales.
Yeah, I kind of like the dog call. Did you last week, Title, we talked 5 dimes had some kind of weird looking.
I moved them all the way over on best fight odds. Like, something's going on. I'm not even really looking at
they have it again this week.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. Like, I ask Keg, but I literally am not even looking at that anymore at that 5 dimes.
Because I mean, yeah,
it looks dumb. Like, it can't be true, is what I think.
Yeah, I don't have a 5 dimes account, but at least according to 5 dimes, like the first fight of this card, Stephanie Egger, you can get at +150 over there, and she's like -140.
That's what it felt too good to be true, so I didn't even
must be off, is my guess, in the best fight odds is what I think is going on. But I don't know. Keg, do you have any insight?
I have no idea. I don't have, after we went legal, I basically was done all my offshores. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah. So we'll just talk about mostly the other lines, which are generally pretty consistent, and 5 dimes for whatever reason on best fight odds has some weird stuff going on. All right, that's Battle and Sato. Sounds like we all think maybe a chance at the upset there, especially if Battle doesn't make the weight cut doesn't serve him well. Next fight on the card, biggest favorite on the card, Terence Mckinney, sitting around -900 to -1,000 over Eric Gonzalez. Mckinney, obviously kind of a rising star, did have a bump in the road in his last fight and that crazy fight against Drew Dober that was just all over the place. Title, I see you shaking your head. I think you were on McKinney on that.
I was on Dober, actually. I'm shaking my head because last week I took the shot on Rafael Alves, the dog, against Drew Dober, hits him with the cleanest left hook you will ever see, and the dude just eats it for lunch. I've never seen a chin like Drew Dober. Is why I was saying that.
Guy, love that Drew.
Like even McKinney, he drops Dober early, puts it all on him, bro. Dober's. I don't know if I'm betting against this dude. I don't know how he loses. Like, the dude just eats anything.
Yeah,
so that's why I was shaking my head.
He's ridiculous. His ability to come back and take punches. It's funny because he like looks like he like actually has like a chin, you know?
Yeah, no, he's stocky. Yeah. He's built like that. I mean, he just eats it like there's nothing every time. I cannot believe it.
Yeah,
so that's why I was shaking my head.
For sure. Coming back to this one though, McKinney, massive favorite. Obviously, we kind of know his style. He's a fun dude to watch, and I'm guessing both of you guys are going to be on the McKinney train. Title, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need. Why is this fight sanctioned? Like, why is he taking a step down in competition? What's going on? McKinney by first round, like always.
Why is this fight sanctioned? It's something I have not heard before. Yeah, I agree with Title totally. I think betting wise, you have to make the decision. Are you going to take him by knockout or by submission? I side with knockout because you have the upside of a mean KO on the feet. Plus, if he takes him down, he could ground and pound him to dust. So I'm going to go with McKinney by knockout at like plus 120.
Yeah, McKinney is I think he's favored to finish inside the.
It's like minus 175. They caught on way too fast.
I was looking at that. Maybe you're gonna take a stab, but I don't know if I want to lay the juice on the first round finish. But yeah, McKinney, massive favorite here. You know, rightfully so. DFS wise, I assume you're just going to get as much McKinney basically into your lineups as you can fit.
Yeah, I mean, these 9,500, he should be 10,500. But the dogs are tough on this card. But yeah, if you can fit McKinney, you pencil in your 100 points.
Right. Like there are some builds where maybe you can't get to them, but
yeah, for sure. I'm not going to lock button him in all 150 and stuff because of pricing. But yeah, if he loses, there's always next week.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll move on quickly from McKinney and Gonzalez. Doesn't sound like we really have too much more to say between these two guys. Sam Elvie and Michael Olajeshek fighting next. Elvie has lost. How many is it in a row now?
7. There's a draw in there too.
Well, but he hasn't won in 8 fights.
Yeah,
8-fight winless streak.
Yeah.
I don't know how he keeps getting fights, but he does. He's back out there again. He is rightfully, I think, a big underdog sitting around plus 450 or so. Keg, does he get in the winner's circle? Sam Elvie, does he join it?
Listen, man, I say this every time. I don't know how he's still on the roster for the best promotion in the world, but this is the last fight of his deal. I would assume, will not get another one. Has not won a fight since 2018. I would not bet Sam Elvie with my ex-wife's money. And that's okay. So listen, Olajeshek, first time he's fighting at 185 pounds in his career, I believe. And the move makes sense to me because he was gassing out late in fights when he was fighting much bigger guys. So I like the move. He's better everywhere. He should have the speed advantage on the feet. And at the end of the day, speed kills. I just don't see. Listen, there was a time where Sam Elvie was really durable and you couldn't knock him out. That time has come and gone. He has been touched and knocked out multiple times in the last 6 fights. So for me, it's going to be Olajeshek. I wanted to lean towards the decision prop at plus 165, but I can't do it because I think he can knock Sam Elvie out. At minus 110 by KO is probably your best shot. If not that bet, I don't mind the under 1.5 rounds at plus 135 if you think he's going to be able to get it done in the first half of the fight. I would rather pay the extra 45 cents and have 15 minutes to knock him out. So Olajeshek by KO.
Makes sense. Title, these are obviously 2 of the will be two of the highest owned fighters on this card. Olajeshek and McKinney in the back-to-back fights. Olajeshek 9,300. So you can fit both of them, but you're going to have to pick some dogs, right? If you want to get these two guys into your lineup, which I assume a lot of people will. This is another fight that is favored to finish inside the distance. I certainly expect it to. What's your call on this fight? And then what are you doing strategy-wise from a DFS perspective?
Well, the joke is like Sam Elvie knows where the bodies are buried because there's no other reason that this dude.
Didn't he miss weight too?
Yeah, he missed weight by a pound.
Yeah. YOLO. He's going YOLO mode.
He said that. Yeah, he goes win, lose, or draw. I'm going YOLO mode or something like that. I hate to say this, but something in the back of my head all week is telling me Sam Elvie's going to do something, man. And he's not my pick. I'm not going to have it. If I have any in DFS, it'll just be 150. But you know how you get that weird hunch sometimes, man? Because like Olajeshek, yeah, he's coming down. Like the big thing with him, he's better everywhere for sure. The cardio is a concern though. Like if Elvie and Keg, everything Keg said was right. If it was a couple of years ago with Elvie's chin, this it would be way off with the line. His chin is dusty now. But if he can make this a dog fight, which Sam Elvie can do sometimes, if he can eat some of those shots and this fight somehow gets to the third round, I don't know what Olajeshek's cardio is going to be. When you're minus 600, you do have to feel pretty good wherever this fight goes in every single round, which is why you lay minus 600, you're crazy, even if you put him in parlays. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're talking Sam Elvie, who's never won. I just had to give the disclaimer. Something's telling me maybe I get like 10% in 150 just because of that in the back of my head. And I burned some lineups there. But yeah, I mean, he's 9,300. So how I look at it, you guys know I love my boy Sweet Dreams. We're not there yet. He's $9,000, $300 cheaper. I do like Sweet Dreams more than Olajeshek. McKinney's $200 more. I like McKinney more than Olajeshek, but he is my third favorite fighter in that top tier. So he's minus 125 to finish. I wouldn't be surprised with the decision. I think a knockout, of course, in any single round makes sense though. So I don't have a strong lean. There's no way I'd bet this fight because I don't know if it's going to could go to decision, could be first round, could be all that. You're not laying minus 600, no angle for betting wise. I'll get some Olajeshek for sure, but I'm going to try and get more McKinney. I'm going to try and get more Sweet Dreams. So who knows how much I'll be able to get.
Yeah, it makes sense. Hard to get all. I don't even know if you can get all three of those guys.
Yeah, I do. And if you do, someone's losing that lineup, I think.
Yeah.
Because they're one of the dogs.
Yep, no question about it. So that's Elvie, Olajeshek. Next fight, we'll go back to the women's division. Ariane Lipski is a decent favorite, minus 170 or so over Priscilla Cachoeira. Let's stick with you here, Title. DFS wise, Lipski sitting at 8,400, Cachoeira 7,800. What's the pick here?
Well, Lipski missed weight by 2.5 pounds in this one. It did not look good on the scale either. Yeah, and did not look good on the scale, which sucks because before when I broke this fight down, I was on Lipski. Now I love this fight for DFS. And why is that? Because anytime the zombie girl fights Priscilla Cachoeira, I love it for DFS because she will walk forward, she will eat a million shots, and then she'll give one. And that one could knock you out. You look at how many strikes she throws and absorbs per minute. She lands 4.46 significant strikes per minute. She lands 7.91 significant strikes per minute. You don't see those numbers ever. She literally walks forward. She's okay eating 5 in the face to just give one overhand right. And if it lands, she can knock you out. She does have some of the power that most women don't have. Outside of that, though, man, like Lipski striking is solid. When she gets it on the ground, I think the easiest game plan in this one, take this fight on the mat. We know Cachoeira is not great when it comes to the mat. Lipski does have some submissions on her record. I think she could have a lot of success there. As she stands with her for 15 minutes, man, I think she does. She outlands her by a lot. Almost everyone outlands Cachoeira. Does she eat the shot though? I think Cachoeira could knock her out on the feet, which is why I like this fight a lot for DFS. But that weight cut and how she looked on the scales is concerning for me, especially when you're talking about a favorite, because Cachoeira is going to walk forward for 15 minutes. She has the cardio to do that. She has the power to do that. If Lipski ends up breaking and the cardio is not there, she's going to get finished in the third round or something. So, man, like I said, I mean, the weigh-ins were like an hour ago or hour and a half ago when I got to them. My pick was Lipski before. I put in the playbook, I moved Lipski down, I moved Cachoeira up. I might be closer to 50-50 on this one. And then I think I might want to take a dog shot at the dog money after seeing it. But I don't know. I'll let Keg talk about it. Very close fight. I wish I wasn't so wishy-washy on it. The weight cut really changed a lot for me because 2.5 pounds is a lot, and she didn't look good.
Yeah, DFS wise, Cachoeira, I mean, even if she gets the upside, it could be, like you said, a third round where Lipski fades and she hasn't really landed that many strikes. So
she'll land some. She always lands some,
yeah,
but yeah, I
sure.
know what you mean. It feels like a 65 significant strike, so finishing the third.
Yeah, like you said, basically absorbs 8 strikes per minute, which is
Isn't that nuts?
Extremely high number. So I definitely get the Lipski love from, you know, betting perspective and DFS wise, but certainly that weight cut could change things. Title, any thoughts on Lipski missing weight, or how do you see this fight going down either way?
He meant you, Keg.
Okay, yeah, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, Title is killing me with this weight news every other fight.
Those are the only two. It was back to back, but well, Battle didn't look great. He made it. Elvie missed by the 1, and then Lipski missed by the 2.5. So you don't have to worry about anything after that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, Title broke the fight down really well. I think that both these women want the fight on the feet for 15 minutes. Title broke down Lipski well and Cachoeira well, so there isn't much to say there. As far as the odds, obviously we're on the split prop at plus 450, but it makes me feel a little better about it now, maybe than I did before I heard that Lipski missed weight. But that aside, I think it's a tough one to call, but I was going to lean with Title, with Lipski here getting the win. I don't know. Now I think it's flip a coin. 50-50 sounds about right to me.
Then you see the dog money.
Yeah, if you see the dog, I would say dog or pass from a money line perspective now. But the only action I'll have is the split prop.
Yeah, it looks like DraftKings still has Cachoeira out there at plus 150 or so. So it might be worth taking a stab at that if you want to get in on there before maybe the line moves due to the missed weight from.
I was gonna say, I don't even know if it's good. I just saw DraftKings. It was minus 175. It went down to minus 180 not too long ago. So maybe people aren't even saying anything about the weight cut. It's interesting. I'm definitely going to be tracking that line.
Yeah, it'll be one to watch all the way up to fight time between Lipski and Cachoeira. Let's get to the main card. Before we do, we are running a promotion over at Run Pier Sports. If you're enjoying the show, you want to get Title's playbook, breaking down every fight. We've got Keg's bets. We've got every sport. And you can get 15% off for the lifetime of your Run Pier Sports subscription, as long as you don't cancel. Use promo code NFL15, I believe is the promo code. See Title nodding his head yes. So sign up with us, and yeah, NFL right around the corner. Baseball's been rolling along, golf, MMA, NASCAR, whatever it is, we've got it over at RPS. Again, promo code NFL15. All right, to the main card we go, and we go from the women's division to the big boys, a heavyweight bout between Augusto Sakai and Sergey Spivak. It is Spivak who is a pretty big favorite in this one, sitting around minus 270. Keg, let's start with you. What do you see between these two heavyweights?
Yeah, interesting fight. Going into the week, I thought I was going to be on the Augusto Sakai side, taking a shot at the plus money, but he will be a pass for me. I cannot back somebody coming off back-to-back knockout losses. He only had one loss going into that Overeem fight. And then, you know, some fighters, they just reach a level where the talent they can't beat. He loses to Overeem, Rosenstruck, and Tai Tuivasa back-to-back. Now he comes into a matchup against Sergey Spivak where he will be the better striker for sure, but will he be able to stay on his feet? And that's a tough one to answer. Overeem got takedowns repeatedly, but it was in round 3, round 4, and round 5 of that fight. I rate Sergey Spivak's takedown game better than Alistair Overeem's. I think that he will have success early getting the takedowns, because that's what he's going to need to do in order to win the fight. And I do think that once the fight is there, Sakai is a dead duck. He'll be there till the bell rings or until the fight is over. So odds open offshore, Spivak minus 200. He's minus 245. I was looking for reasons to back the dog. I can't do it. In terms of betting angles, the two plays that I gravitate towards are either Spivak by KO at plus 175, because you have the upside of the feet if he catches them. And I do think if he gets him down with time to work, he probably just grinds into dust. That's a real path. The other angle I was thinking about was Spivak in the over 1.5 rounds on DraftKings at plus 130. I think that if he does get him to the ground, it will probably be towards the end of round 1 and then in early round 2 again, which could get you over that 1.5 round plateau. And then all you need at that point is him to win the fight. Those would be the two angles that I would gravitate towards. Aside from that, I don't see much here.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think Spivak's going to control this one on the ground. And, typically that scores well for DFS title. Spivak, 8,800. He's got multiple paths, I think, to a big DFS score. We've seen it in most of his wins. He scored pretty well. Last one was a little bit of a lower one on the decision, but you've got the early knockout chance, right? With two big boys, and then you've got a chance for good control time, takedowns, ground and pound, all that stuff for Spivak. So I like him quite a bit. But Title, go ahead. Interested to hear what you have to say between these two.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Keg said. Everything you said makes sense. What do I like targeting DFS? Obviously, heavyweights. The more you go up in the weight class, the more likely the finish is. Heavyweight's supposed to finish minus 225. What do I also like to target? Clash of styles. One guy's better on the feet, one guy's better on the mat. Usually that more finishes happen when that's the case. So I definitely like this when it comes for DFS. I am going to disagree, though, when I come to the betting side and who I'm going to take there. Man, like, we know one guy's way better on the feet in Sakai. One guy's way better on the mat for sure. Keg said, can he get it on the mat? The question is, yeah, that's a very logical question. Can he? I can't lay minus 280 to wonder if I can. I can take plus 235 when I know one guy is better for sure. When the fight starts on the feet, which every fight does. And man, you look at Sakai before this, everything Keg said, I 100% agree. He was 15-1. Coming in before his last 3 losses, 15-1, knocking out a bunch of people. He was just on an absolute roll. The Elsa Overeem was a pretty good fight. He got taken down 3 of 3 times, but it was competitive in the striking. He got knocked out. And man, ever since that knockout, there's only those 2 fights, but he has looked like a completely different fighter for sure. The Rosenstruck fight, he didn't throw anything the whole time. Gets knocked out in the first round. He looked scared. Last fight against Tai Tuivasa, yeah, Tai Tuivasa is good, of course, but he didn't look great in that fight either. Gets finished in the second. I don't know what Sakai I'm going to see, but this line is saying we're about to see the same Sakai as the last 2 fights. Because if we didn't see those last 2 fights, there's no way this line is minus 280 plus 235. And I can see this line closing at minus 300 plus, because people love steaming the favorites and getting parlays up and stuff. So if I have to take a shot on the money line, man, I'm definitely taking the Sakai side when I know he's the better striker. If Spivak gets it on the mat, Sakai's got nothing off of his back. Spivak will absolutely kill him. He's going to put up a big score, and he's going to get him out of there. I'll have plenty of both guys, but on a card, I don't like too many dogs. I'm going to say Sakai gets it done. I don't love it at all. I want to pick some underdogs in this one. Gun in my head, I'm taking Spivak, thinking he'll get it to the mat. But with the value and all of that, with the DFS prices, I'll have a lot of both. But I'm going to say Sakai just because I don't want to say favorite, because I do like a lot of favorites on this card.
Yeah, I do think this is a fight you'd want quite a bit of exposure to in DFS. If Sakai gets it done at 7,400, regardless of how he gets it done, I think he's got a good chance to get on the optimal. And if a Spivak win, I think is going to score pretty well most of the time. So I think
heavyweights, clash of styles, they both add up for a pretty good score for the winner.
Yeah, I think you're going to want, basically whoever wins this fight, I think you're going to want in your lineup probably at the end of the night. Next fight on the card, the final women's fight of the card, Brogan Walker and Juliana Miller. It is Miller who is a very slight favorite, sitting around minus 125. Keg, let's start with you on this one.
Yeah, I watched Brogan Walker's fights in Invicta, but I tried to base the majority of my handicap off the Ultimate Fighter this year. When Walker is getting the fight she wants, she's basically bouncing in and out of range behind her jab, and she's looking for a big right check hook on the counter. That's pretty much her whole game. That's really all I saw from her on the show. Her takedown defense looks solid, Her control against the cage looked good. I know she is a black belt, but we haven't really seen much of it yet. I think at this point in her career, she is probably more polished. But I think that Juliana Miller has a much higher ceiling, in my opinion, because her striking is raw, but it's effective, and she explodes with punches and bunches, and they're accurate. She hits them. So she had the fight of the year on the show in a win. She really excels on the ground, though. She's been grappling in tournaments for years, and if she can get the body lock, she can get you down and submit you. So I like this girl. Excited to see where she goes. I agree with the line. I guess it's basically minus 120 even money coin flip.
Mhm.
We're on the split prop, obviously, plus 350. This has the best chance, I think, of the four for us to cash tomorrow. And I'm going to lean Juliana Miller, even though I think Walker is more polished now. I think Miller's going to win the fight.
Yeah, sounds like you got quite a bit of faith in Miller's talent. So excited to see her fight. Title, what do you see between Miller and Walker? Obviously, a very closely lined fight here.
Yeah, so this fight and then the next fight are the Ultimate Fighter Championships. They weren't like, these girls aren't in the UFC or in the next fight. They're not in the UFC. They were on the show. They're trying to make it in the UFC. It's low level, man. Like, I don't think either of these two have a bright future in the UFC, if I'm being honest. They give them the right matchups, maybe. Walker open minus 160 as a favorite. Now Miller's sitting about minus 125. Miller's 3-1, Walker's 8-2. Like, man, it's low level women's MMA. You're flipping coins at this point. I'm going to pick Miller because I think her cardio is good. She has a 3-inch height advantage in this one. I think she's just going to keep walking forward. She's definitely going to be eating shots. I think she's going to keep just like spamming volume, though. We know how that can add up in the significant strike category. And if this fight does get to the mat, she's not physically strong. She struggles to get the fight to the mat. If she does get it to the mat, though, I think she's better than Walker on the mat. I think she can have a lot of success there. So I see more paths to victory. I think she throws more volume, which is good for DFS. In a low-level fight, 8,300, I guess I'll take the winner. Or I think Miller wins, so I guess I'll take her. I'll get some in DFS at 8,300. But, man, low-level women's MMA could break the slate always, but how can you be confident predicting this fight?
Yeah, pretty big favorite to go to decision as well. So DFS wise, you got to get the winner right on the coin flip, and then you got to hope they score well, which is certainly no guarantee. So I get being lower on this fight than probably one of my lowest owned fights on the card. Frankly, I think that'll be true of most people, but I do think that's kind of the correct decision. Let's go to the next fight: Zach Paga and Mohammed Usman. It is Paga rather, who's a pretty big favorite, sitting around minus 270. Title will stick with you, Paga and Usman. What do you see here?
Yes, that is Kamaru Usman's brother. No, they do not fight anything like each other. They shouldn't even be talked about in the same planet when it's talk about fighting. Man, like, well,
that's kind of mean to Muhammad here.
You wouldn't say that to his face, though.
Hell no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that to any of these dudes' faces. They'll all beat me. They'll all beat me up. But I mean, facts are facts when you're breaking down fights at the UFC level. I mean, I don't think either has too bright of a future. This fight's at heavyweight. They're both smaller heavyweights. Paga weighed in, I think, like 239. Usman even weighed in less, like 236, which is interesting. I mean, man, I just really don't think Usman's too great. Yes, he would beat my ass for sure. No doubt about it. I'd be running. But we're talking to him fighting Zach Paga. He doesn't throw much volume on the feet. Usman doesn't. I guess he has a wrestling advantage, maybe. You don't really see him do it too much. If he lands flush, any heavyweight really has the power to put you out. But I just don't really see too much that I like from Usman. As far as Paga, he's solid. He has a background in football, which I always like. He was a linebacker at Colorado State. He had a good career there. He signed with the Houston Texans as an undrafted guy on the practice squad. He never made it in the NFL, but man, you're competing your whole life in football. I always like backing athletes like that. He seems to be getting better every fight. His striking is solid. He's not the most high volume either. You look at the heavyweight fight. Usually I love heavyweights. This fight is minus 150 to end inside the distance. I think we see a boring fight. I'm going against Vegas in this one. I'm going for DFS wise. I'm going to be under on this fight. I think this could be a very, very boring, lackluster fight. And I don't think either two are great. I think Pog is better. He's definitely my pick in this one. But, man, I think we see a decision in this one, maybe even a little split decision. For Keg, I don't know what that number pays, but it has to pay decent if this fight's supposed to finish.
I think it's 6.5 to 1.
Yeah, that's my favorite bet on this one for sure. Split decision for the heavyweights. It's greasy. It doesn't sound great right now, but I think we see a slow pace fight. Hope it goes decision. I don't want much of either, but Paga is definitely my pick.
I think we should rename the show Split Decision.
Keg got it going.
Yeah, we'll talk to the brass, see what we can do. Paga and Usman. Keg, what do you see between these two?
I honestly think that title broke this fight down perfectly. The one thing I would say is, listen, it's low level. Would I tell anybody not to take the shot on Usman at plus 225 against a very unproven guy? No, I wouldn't tell you not to do it. But I agree with title. Palga's striking looks more evolved right now. And I also, in my write-up, said the exact same thing that title said. I tend to think that maybe Palga could get the KO, but don't be surprised if this goes the whole 3 rounds in a boring, greasy split decision. That's at plus 650. That's literally in the write-up right now in our.
I promise you, I didn't look at it.
No, I know you. We agree all the time. I know you. Do.
What book is that, Keg?
I totally agree with you. I think you nailed it. Yeah, I totally agree.
What book has the 650 split decision?
DraftKings.
DraftKings. All right, I'm gonna have to hit that one up after the show for sure. So that's Paga, Usman. Sounds like, yeah, you guys kind of expect we do see heavyweight fights sometimes, right? Where they're like have like almost too much respect or not enough cardio.
Don't you think with a UFC contract on the line, they are going to be hyper cautious and not make sure they don't get knocked out?
Yeah. And Usman's footwork, he likes standing the outside. Both guys use their footwork pretty well.
Yeah.
Of course they can knock him out. Like, I'm not going to have zero Paga because I do think he wins and it's heavyweights, but I'm going to be, I mean, he's 8,900 or 8,800. He's 8,900. Like, I'm going to try and find that 100 for Sweet Dreams or that 100 less for Spivak. Like, he's just in that range where you can't play everyone as much.
Yeah, the low level heavyweight fights definitely have the highest, just like total bust rate where just nothing happens. They both don't have the cardio to do it. Could see it here. I'm not necessarily predicting that, but wouldn't shock me whatsoever. Let's get to the final 2 fights on the card. It is Vicente Luque, who is a moderate minus 180 favorite over Jeff Neal. Title will stick with you here, Luque and Neal. Who do you like between these two guys?
Yeah, I don't think this fight's going to be boring. If that fight plays out how we think, that fight and this fight is going to be night and day because Vicente Luque fights are always fun. The man just brings it every single time. He pushes the pace. The guys that beat Vicente Luque are grapplers. We just saw, or wrestlers. We just saw it with Bilal Muhammad last fight or 2 fights ago. Man, like that's who beats Luque. Jeff Neal is not a wrestler. He wants to strike at the end of the day. He has a ton of power in his hands for sure. He came in on a huge winning streak when he was in the UFC. He won his first 6 fights, some decent opponents. We got Nico Price. He beat Bilal Muhammad. Mike Perry knocks out. Then he loses to Wonder Boy. We're in a lackluster fight. He had over a year off. After that, he had a heart problem or something like that. Took a year off. Lost to Wonder Boy. Tough fight, but he just looked very composed, or he looked hesitant, kind of like Sakai. Then against Neil Magny, he looked kind of flat in that one as well. And then his last fight against Santiago Ponzinibbio, he won a split decision, but again, he looked kind of hesitant. It was kind of like the Sakai thing where it wasn't the old Jeff Neal that was coming in there, knocking dudes out, letting his hands go, looking all like that. So what Jeff Neal do we see? If it was the old Jeff Neal and he comes in and he lets his hands go, he can finish Vicente Luque. I say that, and Vicente Luque has never been knocked out. The dude has a steel chin for sure. So, which is part of the reason my pick. I'll pick the guy that has never been knocked out, that I know is going to come in there, throw a lot of volume, get in your face, push the pace, which all looks good on judges. Luque's my pick. He's not going against a wrestler. There's not too many guys I'll pick against Luque in a stand-up fight because of that chin is so good. But man, I'm definitely going to have some Jeff Neal at 7,700 as a dog when I don't like too many dogs on this card. It's a very high-level fight, 2 very good strikers. If this fight does hit the mat, Luque's grappling, his submission game, very, very good, very nasty. I think he wins it there. But I think we see 15 minutes on the feeder until someone gets knocked out. I trust Luque's chin more than I trust Jeff Neal's chin. So I'm going to say a late finish for Vicente Luque, maybe a third round, but I expect a good fight.
Nice. Yeah, I think this one should have fireworks, and I do like the Luque pick. Yeah, like you said, Neal just hasn't looked the same these last couple of fights. Keg, what do you see between Neal and Luque?
Yeah, I largely agree. This is the one fight on the card that we bet about a month ago on the our Run Pure Bets live shows. I like Jeff Neal. I don't think he's a bad fighter. He was on a roll before he dropped 2 of the last 3 to Wonderboy and Magny. But my issue with him is he has not beat anybody aside from Bilal Muhammad. Now, that's a great win. But if you look at the rest of his resume, it is beyond thin. And Title's right. He has not looked right the last 3 or 4 fights. His striking is clean, though. He gets in and out of the pocket, I think, way better than Vicente Luque. But Luque has no problem living in the pocket because of his chin. And we bet the odds opened at like minus 175. And then it dipped to minus 140. We bet it at minus 140. Since then, I think now it's like minus 190.
Yeah.
We're on Luque. Now, if you didn't get the minus 140 number and you want to get the price down, I would be looking to get the number down with one of the alternate round prop overs in one of the women's fights this weekend. I think that's like your best case scenario for the lowest risk to get the price down on Luque. But yeah, we're on Luque minus 140. Aside from that, I don't see anything here.
Yeah, 3 for 3 on Luque over Neal. Let's get to the main event. Should be a banger, I think. Jamal Hill and Thiago Santos. We know Hill involved in some pretty spectacular fights, pretty much every time out. Kind of like McKinney, 2 really fun guys to watch fight. He is a pretty big favorite, minus 300 or so over a once dangerous fighter, but kind of fading. And I think, at least in Thiago Santos, we know this one, or at least I think I know this one's going to be on the feet. And I don't know. I kind of think Sweet Dreams Hill is going to put him down. Title, I know he's one of your favorites. What do you see between Thiago Santos and Sweet Dreams Hill?
Yeah, I mean, Santos, he's still dangerous, I think, for sure. I mean, when you have the power that he has, he connects on the chin, you're going to probably go out. However, like, he has definitely not looked the same after his knee surgeries, after all that. And Sweet Dreams is my boy. There's no surprise who I'm taking here. I said future champ for him, but I also said future champ for Ankalaev. So Ankalaev better get a shot soon and win it. And then my boy Sweet Dreams is coming for that, man, boy. Sweet Dreams is a bad dude. I think, like I said, those only loss to Paul Craig, I think will be good for his career because he's just so confident in himself and everything he does. Like, he was like, oh, I'm a better grappler than Paul Craig. Confident or stupid, those are 2 things. And I think both of them went into that fight. He followed him to the ground. He got his arm snapped. He didn't even tap in that fight, though, which shows how tough he is. When this dude is on the feet, there's very, very few that can stand with him, man. The power he has, the speed he has. He's a very smart fighter. He's just very, very legit. The cardio seems to check out. I'm going to be backing this dude probably at almost every single fight he has. So no surprise here. I think he gets it done. I'm going to say another first round knockout added to the tally.
Yeah, big favorite to finish inside the distance there, and I'm with you. I think Hill does get the job done. Keg, thoughts on the main event here?
Yep, 3 for 3. Thiago Santos is like the Bible. Before John Jones and after John Jones. After John Jones is really, really, really bad. His speed is gone. People think he's young, but he's not. He's almost 40. And I think that the majority of this will stay on the feet. And in that situation, I'll take the best prospect by a mile in the light heavyweight division. So, yeah, I'm on Hill KO minus 140.
Yeah, he's coming. Give him Jan Blachowicz next. Give him anyone that he's going to be a dog against, and I'm going to keep hammering this man.
I like it. I think Santos does have a kind of the quintessential puncher's chance here with the power that he probably still has. But I think that's pretty much about it. I don't really see him winning, outpointing Hill basically ever. And I do think Hill is going to get the job done early in this one. All right, guys, that'll do it. That's all 12 fights talking the August 6th UFC card. Thanks for tuning in. As always, again, if you want to join us over at Run for Your Sports, promo code NFL15 will get you 15% off. Basically the lifetime of your subscription as long as you stick with us. Thanks for sticking with us for this show. We enjoy it. Hit the like, hit the subscribe on your way out. It does allow us to bring you these shows free of charge each and every week. That'll do it for Keg. For Title, I'm DC, and we'll check in next time.
Good luck, everybody.
Later.